Get ready for some intense multiplayer action with these top 10 online co-op games available on PlayStation Plus Extra. Number 10. Back 4 Blood. Back 4 Blood is a first-person co-op shooter reminiscent of Left 4 Dead. This game has solid gameplay and visuals, along with a card-based customization system that permits players to tweak their loadouts. In a world full of Destiny-like live service shooters, Back 4 Blood takes things back to basics, with solid shooting and all-out bloodthirsty action. You'll want to stick around, not for the promise of better loot, but for the action-packed moment-to-moment gameplay. The differences between Back 4 Blood's playable survivors are not skin-deep either. Each character has unique traits and default weapons, which encourages teams to craft parties consisting of survivors that bring the best out of each other. Number 9. Rainbow Six Extraction. Rainbow Six Extraction is a tactical FPS where you team up with other players to take on an alien threat. Band together and put everything on the line as you take on this unknown enemy. Assemble a squad in co-op of up to 3 operators. Each operator has a specific set of weapons and abilities to learn, master, and improve through a new progression system. Explore 12 uniquely designed maps featuring procedurally generated challenges that will test your team every time. You will have to count on your teammates to face each of the 10 parasitic archetypes. This game is not only a great cooperative shooter, but it also differentiates itself from most of the competition by promoting a more tactical and reasoned approach. Number 8. Returnal. Returnal did not launch with multiplayer, but an online 2-player co-op option was added as part of the Ascension update. Thanks to this addition, players can now join forces to take on the game's roguelike challenges, and there is the option to use a public or private server. Returnal is challenging, and co-op does not necessarily make the experience easier. However, it does introduce a revive option into the gameplay loop, granting players a second chance. Otherwise, co-op provides essentially the same core experience as solo runs. If you're looking for a fun and frantic third-person shooter with a friend, boot up Returnal and see if you have what it takes to get through the nightmarish time loop. Number 7. Payday 2 Crimewave Edition. Payday 2 was released 10 years ago, and the co-op shooter is still as popular as ever. The game has a simple but brilliant premise. Team up with friends to pull off heists. It is possible to take on missions solo, but Payday 2 is intended to be experienced with a consistent group of friends. The progression system revolves around unlocking better gear and skills, both of which play significant roles in enhancing a crew's professionalism. Consequently, players genuinely feel like they are improving with each new heist as their crew gradually morphs into a well-oiled machine. Payday 3 is on the way, so its predecessor's Time in the Sun will most likely be setting sooner rather than later. For those who have yet to experience the thrill and pleasure of pulling off jobs with a group of masked friends, it is possible to do just that through PlayStation Plus. Number 6. The Elder Scrolls Online. While you can approach this game as a solo experience, The Elder Scrolls Online was definitely made to be played with friends. Take advantage of this MMO experience and bring along as many friends as you'd like. Tackle all kinds of group content from dungeons, quests, and even PvP. The best part is that you won't be bound to only co-op. Play solo when your friends aren't available and group up when they're around. The Elder Scrolls Online got off to a relatively mediocre start, but it has improved significantly since its launch. This game offers dozens of hours of gameplay set in a world rich with lore and quests, making it a game that could easily become a player's favorite title. Number 5. Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 perfectly captures the essence of the series by delivering top-notch, loot-driven FPS action despite some minor issues with its humor. As with every entry in the series so far, Borderlands 3 is best played in co-op and gives series veterans the same satisfying shooting gameplay and a ridiculous amount of guns to play around with. The game has the most interesting and varied locations in the series to date, with a wider variety of planets to explore and new vehicles to test drive. Customization and movement have also been improved, allowing for a more streamlined experience as you experiment with a seemingly endless sea of gear and weapons. Play with anyone at any time online or in split-screen co-op, regardless of your level or mission progress. Number 4. Warhammer Vermintide 2. Warhammer Vermintide 2 is celebrating its 5-year anniversary this year. Despite its growing age, Fatshark's release is still reasonably active, and it is arguably the best action-oriented Warhammer game of the last decade. Vermintide 2 pits the heroes against wave after wave of rat-themed enemies, showering them with loot if they manage to survive. While the main version only has 13 missions along with 4 more from free updates, the stages are meant to be repeated endlessly as players upgrade their class and weapons. Vermintide 2's 5 playable characters are wildly different from each other, ensuring most people find someone who suits their preferences. If you are enjoying this video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Number 3. Demon's Souls. From Software's Souls games incorporate a unique form of multiplayer that enables players to visit each other's worlds, and the Demon's Souls remake is no exception. Depending on the item used, players can either invade and engage in PvP or be summoned to provide a helping hand. While the former tends to get more attention, the latter is also a common practice. Up to 4 players can convene to take on the game's plethora of challenging fights. The helpers are sent back to their universes if they die or take down a boss. It should be noted that while co-op is ongoing, 2 PvP invaders can also show up to add a twist to the tale. Number 2. Ghost of Tsushima Legends. Ghost of Tsushima is a fantastic action-adventure game with a strong single-player campaign. A few months following the base title's debut, Sucker Punch dropped Legends, a co-op side experience deep enough to justify a standalone release. Along with common modes like Survival, Legends also comes with a story that guides 2 players through roughly 6 hours of content. Legends has 4 different classes. Each one fits an archetype and has a specific role they should be fulfilling in combat scenarios. While some options like the Samurai are viable for solo or 2-player runs, classes like the Ronin are designed with support in mind. Legends is a free download for Ghost of Tsushima owners, which is available on PlayStation Plus Extra. And finally, number 1. The Division 2. The Division 2 builds on its predecessor's solid foundations. The action RPG tries to be both a single-player third-person shooter and a live-service always-online experience, and for the most part, it does an impressive job. The main story will keep players engaged for a good 30 hours, and this section can be largely enjoyed solo. However, the end-game content revolves heavily around PvP and online co-op. 4 players can combine to create squads and take on missions, while that number is doubled for raids. There's a compelling loot game in the middle of it all, which contributes to the large variety of builds to try out as you mow down the countless thugs and gangs roaming the streets. All in all, it's a great co-op experience, especially when working together and coordinating to take on the game's tough raids or testing your collective mettle out in the PvP dark zone areas. And that was our top 10 online co-op games. Make sure to check out our other PlayStation Plus videos, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.